A lark and her momster are coming your way. Gonna tell it how it is, so won't you join us today? All right. Welcome back to A Lark and Her Momster. I am the lark, and you are my...
I'm your momster. Blah, 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 blah. I'm your momster.
How have you had?
I've only had a little wine.
She's the... Oh, I thought you made a noise. No. She's the momster.
I made a noise?
You guys, I'm super excited because today we have guests. Guests, say hi.
Hi. And I'll introduce them in a minute.
Please
but
do.
Before we introduce the wine, yes, why don't you tell us about the wine?
I think it's time to start over. Who came first? I guess. Oh, we don't start over on this podcast.
It's live.
Occasionally we might pause because one of the dogs is having an issue. But other than that, it's live and fairly unedited. Never say that. Unedited.
This is a rated R podcast.
Yes,
everyone.
it is. It is
Turn it down if you're with small children.
We do have a disclaimer. Well, we have it's the explicit thing on the thing.
And it's a disclaimer.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, so talking about the wine.
She wrote on hers. That concerns me.
Oh no! This is so I can.
No, I wrote about the wine because I didn't type the wine because
Like when your doctor is making notes and you're like, I want to see that.
Because when I did the script for it, I realized when I did the script for it.
Keep going. Keep talking.
I'm afraid Luna is going after the chipmunks.
Lay down. There's no chipmunks. Lay down.
Do you love them?
I saw a chipmunk outside
I love them
just
too.
a minute ago.
They're
Cool.
very cute.
Okay, so when I wrote the script, I didn't have the bottle in front of me,
Right.
and so I didn't know what wine it was until I got home.
And then you wrote it.
Then I wrote it down.
Yes, I remember because we had a long conversation about the word bosc.
Yes.
Which you were like, can you pronounce this word bosc? And I'm like, well, you just said it. So I can probably... How is it spelled? B-O-S-C. Bosc.
Yes,
I think
bosc.
I've got it. Thank you.
Like a pear.
That's exactly what it is.
It is. So today's wine, TBD. Oh, that's to be determined because... I'm reading this. This is the only time I have a script. Today's wine is... Okay, well, fuck you, because you were like, how do you pronounce bosc? What is that word?
Terregaie.
Terregaie?
No, Terregaie.
Terregaie?
Terregaie.
Tarjay. I love that
It's Terregaie.
It's
Prosecco.
Yes.
It's
It's
Prosecco.
Terregaie or Terregaie or Terregaie or Terre whatever. Prosecco. Whatever.
Let's hope we don't actually tag them in this.
I know. It's great. We love it.
It
It's
is
very
very good.
elegant. With a dry palate and more length than most Proseccos. How long are most Proseccos?
I don't know, but this one's really long.
Apparently, it's very lengthy.
It's so long.
Ooh. Fresh bosc pears. Acacia aromas?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Acacia aromas with an integrated mousse. That's to die for? What?
She's going to spit on you.
M-O-U-S-E.
Mousse?
Is that how mousse is spelled with 2 S's?
Mousse.
No, mousse is... Which mousse?
Susan's about to choke over here.
M-O-U-S-E is mouse.
Well, here's the thing. We're going to go ahead and type it into Google, and then Google will tell us how to pronounce it. And then because
we will.
this has such a long length, we're going to get out a tape measure and
Hold on.
measure the
No,
bottle.
hand me the
It won't
script.
go
Let me see
bad
what
while
I
you're
wrote.
doing it.
You wrote mouse. Hold on.
Nobody can read my handwriting.
Hold on, let me just ask Google. Let me just ask Google.
How do you
pronounce mouse?
It's mousse,
Okay, well,
I think.
hold on.
Let me see now.
It's a mouse.
Wait, how do you pronounce...
Mouse.
That's mouse.
Thank you. Yes, it in fact does say mouse. M-O-U-S-E.
Now I have to find out what it was that I was actually...
It's probably moose.
It also
I
looks like
honestly
it could
don't
say
know.
M-O-I-E-S-C.
It's a mousse. I forgot an S.
Oh, it's a moose. Okay, so it's...
Now nobody knows what the hell we're
I'm
drinking.
gonna try it again. Okay, let me do this really professionally. Welcome to our podcast. This is a Terregaie Prosecco, very elegant with a dry palate and more length than most Proseccos. Fresh bosc pears,
Bosc.
acacia aromas with an integrated mousse that's to die for. Cool.
Yeah. Are we dying for it?
We're so, I don't know. We're dying for it. Why don't you introduce our guest so I can stop?
Please stop. So today we're very honored to have two very special people join us to discuss their special mother-daughter relationship that goes beyond a blood tie. Emelie and Carol, welcome.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you here.
This is so fun.
And for you to put up with us.
No, this is fun. No, this has been great. And we've never gotten to be on a podcast, and there's a lot about mother-daughter relationships that in our situation don't really get talked about. And a lot of people don't actually ask us about it. So it's cool to get an opportunity to just share and talk about it.
I don't think we've ever talked about it.
Actually, it just kind of was like, oh, I'm adopted now. And we were like, cool, double thumbs up.
Well, see, we tell people, first of all, she's the one that looks the most like me. So
Obviously.
tall and blonde, and I'm really short. And she's gorgeous. I call her either my gift daughter, and I tell people that she adopted us, and we are so fortunate.
Aww.
You've added so much to our family.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And even one of your sisters said that the other day.
Oh,
To me?
To me about you.
no, you'll never know.
Which one?
Oh, you just have to tell one of them. That gets them.
Okay, good.
Oh, I am the family snitch.
Yeah, if you tell her, I'll find out about it.
But it's mostly because Sarah or Kate will be going through a hard time, and they'll be like, don't tell mom. And I'm like, this is absolutely why I'm going to tell mom. Like, Sarah, through her work stuff, or just, we've all three of us had financial stuff, or, whenever Kate and Sarah come to me and there's something really important going on, I'm like, sounds like mom and dad should know. And they're like, don't tell mom and dad. And I'm like, okay, haha, like fingers crossed behind my back or something. Yeah, and I'll call mom and I'll be like, you cannot tell them that I told you this.
Right.
You literally cannot breathe a word. Just pretend like you don't
dreamt
know.
it. You dreamt it.
Like, or you had some sort of motherly premonition.
I had a connection.
You had
Maternal premonitions
premonition.
are real.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
And-
hi, honey. Are you doing okay? I just had a feeling that maybe something was going on.
I had a feeling, or maybe one of your sisters snitched on you and told.
Because they all know it's you.
They all know it's me. Everyone knows. At every holiday, everything. People will tell me secrets, and I'm like, you are doing this to yourself, because I do not
You know me.
I am not good with secrets that need to be shared.
I'll be honest, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Like, that's a problem.
And the good thing is, mom and dad forget things, so, if they just wait long enough, we'll forget she told us anything.
Yeah, fair
The
enough.
amount of times that in high school, Kate and I would go do something like go to a party, and we'd wake up the next day, or the next time we saw mom and dad, I'd be like, Mom and Dad, guess what we did last night? And Kate would be like, shut the fuck up. What are you doing? And I'd be like, we went to this party and there were boys and we had beer. And Kate's like, you were so stupid. So
Well, the thing is, and we feel bad about this, by the time we got through with the first child, and I was almost 40 when Kate was born, I will say, we kind of were tired. And
rightfully so.
we weren't through with the first child. I mean, by the time
Yeah.
Kate got to high school, and she's the youngest, it was just like, she signs my name way better than I do.
Oh my
And
god, I do that with
I
yours.
realized...
I found that out. Yeah.
Well,
You said I could. You said I could.
Well,
Yep.
she would ask me at 11 o'clock at night, which
Yeah.
is not my good time.
yeah.
So, I mean, I just feel like Kate had to raise herself. Emelie was her
I was her
in
child.
crime.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was more the crime part. She was more the
punishment.
This is how
crime
we-
and punishment.
she was
Kate
more
was the crime and
she was like, I'm in this cohort because I know that you would probably die if I wasn't here.
Fair. Okay.
But also because I didn't have friends, and Kate was struggling. She went to an all-girls school, and as we know, girls in high school, middle school and high school are just mean as shit.
Yep.
And a lot of the girls she went to school with were bullies. They were super mean, and now they've all grown up to be like
Drug
the
addicts?
like realtors.
Oh, that's awful.
So
That needs to be a movie.
yeah.
That's hilarious.
So, we just kind of found each other, and there were so many moments of us growing up together. Like, Mom and Kate and I shared a bathroom. We had the big bathroom in the house, and Dad had his own small bathroom.
Table.
No, it was big, but it was like moments where she would be like brushing her teeth and I was blow drying my hair, and then all of a sudden my hair gets sucked into the back of the blow dryer. And it was like those moments where I think she would look at me and be like, if I don't make sure you don't die, you will die. Fair. So it was born out of both of us needing friends, but I think, her seeing someone who was a risk to themselves as far like just a hazard. But then on the flip side of that, she tagging along with me all the wild and like fearless and just, fuck it, whatever things I did, we ended up having a lot of fun together. So it was like, I kind of facilitated all the fun, even if it was really reckless and kind of stupid sometimes. And then she was the one there to like make sure that it was reasonable. And it wasn't like, I'm going to have to go home with your dead body and explain to Mom and Dad why their newly adopted child is dead.
Right.
So it all worked out.
Carol, tell us a little bit about when and how Emelie came into your lives.
Well, we had actually known Emelie when she was a very little girl.
Oh, cool.
She's kind of between Kate and Sarah's ages. Whoever you are. Whoever you are, stop
it's that mom thing where they go through every single name and then they're like, what is your name? And you're just like, I don't know, just say, you can say what you need to
stop
say.
Doing what
Daughter
you're doing.
number 2, daughter number 1, right.
So when she would be in town visiting her grandparents, they would invite us over because we were friends of that family. We would come over and like swim in their pool and hang out a little bit. I think after a while, you got to be about grade school and they started just taking you guys down to Florida. So we didn't see you during a lot of years. I kept up with you through your aunt and who I was friends with at that time. And
she's a piece of work.
I was going to say,
yeah.
From that phrase, are we no longer
So just a little add in here. My mom and dad have known my biological family for a really long time.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They threw a party for us before we got married 35 years ago.
So there's a lot of deep-rooted ties, which is why when I kind of share about my adoption, it's more of like when you're working with kids in foster care, there are many options. So there's the kinship placement, right? So kin.
Right.
And so it's a family friend or a relative, and it kind of worked out that way. It's like it was more it falls more into this kind of kinship adoption umbrella because you knew me, you knew my biological family before I was born, you knew me when I was born. Like,
well, I actually knew your mom and dad before they married.
Yeah, my mom knew them separately, my biological parents.
Your aunt and both your aunts. And so because we had all been in college together, but kind of met here through friends from there. And that's kind of also how I met my husband.
That's
through
interesting.
Her aunt at a party that I was trying to, I was telling him I was actually trying to get out to go to a better party. But
as we do.
He remembers it. But so during your kind of later grade school years, if your aunt and I were ever together, we would talk about you and how worried she was about you, and I just clearly remember saying, does she have a phone? Does she have access to a cell phone? Because I had known some women who were abused by their husbands, and one of the things they said was in that group was to always keep an extra car key under the mat, of your car, so
Right.
you can get away. And so part of it was, does Emily have a burner phone? Does she have your phone number? So so we knew things were difficult.
Burner phone, like I'm a drug dealer.
Hey,
Do you have a burner phone?
I mean,
can't be traced.
But
burner phones can be used for many
So
things.
we were worried about you.
Yeah. What I know from what I have learned, it was a really traumatic time for you. And so having a way to reach out to somebody is really important.
Did you reach out? I know the school got you into foster care, but
So
how did Beth get involved?
I had to do that twice.
Okay.
So I was the one who reported it 2 times. The first time I had been at a Catholic school, and my biological dad, I remember I was in Latin class, which is such a Catholic school thing. I think I was in 6th grade, and it was like, time to learn Latin. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, what the fuck am I going to use Latin for?
Yeah,
Are you
like,
kidding me?
she's like,
And I was like, I'm not even fucking Catholic.
You're like, I'm not going to exercise demons anytime
Jesus.
soon.
And now I look back and I'm like, man, that would have been a really cool career. Like, that would have been so fun. But,
Exercising demons?
yes.
Oh,
I was like,
I heard that.
I know.
Or
I'm
to
like
know
so
Latin,
witchy and like a
or to
Halloweeny,
be
and I was
like a
like,
Catholic
if I had
priest,
learned
or-
Latin, I could have been like exercising
exorcist.
the demons. You know what I mean?
I don't think
Um,
there's a lot of money in that.
Oh, no, there is. There is. Shout out Rachel Stavis, who is an LA exorcist for the stars. Oh, yeah, she's got a book, but we'll talk about that on a different podcast.
Please.
But there is.
Well, let Emily finish
Yes.
her story.
Do go on.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in a Catholic school at the time, and I remember that morning I had asked my biological dad for money to pay for these Latin flashcards.
Yeah.
And we were driving in the car, and I'd forgotten, like, as kids do, I'm like, after being a nanny, working with kids, having friends with kids forget stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Kids
1000%.
forget stuff,
Yeah.
like, that's normal. They're doing other things. They're not interested in making sure they have the cardboard for their project that's due on Monday,
Right.
It's
They're
not their
like,
job
"Oh, it's
to make
tomorrow."
sure of that. That's
Yeah.
what parents do.
Right.
And so I remember being in the car on the way to school, and it was just like, I said it, and it was like his hand coming back and hitting me, screaming, like awful stuff, and I've walked away from that really having to work on like body image and all kinds of, stuff that comes like when immature people insult you. It's all about your body image. It's about your intelligence. It's about all these like things that are so core to you. But that day I went to my Latin teacher, and he asked me, he was like, hey, like, we still have to pay for this. I think it was like $15. And I just started crying, and I just full meltdown in front of the whole class. And I was like explaining to him, and he was, at the time they didn't have a school social worker or anything, so they sent me to the nurse, and they had to call CPS, of course.
Yeah.
And my biological parents lawyered up so quickly, and it was dismissed like instantly, which makes sense. Middle class, white family, presenting very well.
Yeah.
Very rich, family members. And then a year
Educated.
later,
Educated.
college educated.
Yeah,
you're-
because they do no wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a big part of our work too.
Right,
It's like
yeah.
having to navigate all of the systemic issues that come with, trauma and abuse and navigating things and making sure parents can keep their kids and have the tools to keep their kids. And
Right.
That's another podcast.
another,
We'll get
again,
into that
yeah,
another
I could really stand on a soapbox about that one
right.
because that was a huge
We've got
part
a
of
night.
like,
Let's just keep going.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is a special guest episode. Keep going.
yeah. And a year later, they pulled me out of that school and they put me in public school. And I had told my biological, there were dishes in the sink, and
He
was
slammed you against.
yeah, and I was cleaning a pizza pan with a sponge, and he came up and he was like, "You have to use this toothbrush," and I was like, "No, I'm gonna use the sponge. Like,
Yeah.
I'm doing fine. Like, leave me alone."
Yeah.
He grabs me and slams me up against the cabinets and the counter, and like the counter hits me here, my head smacks back, and he's like banging me around. So I go to school. There's a bruise on my face. I was like, you get to a point, when you like accidentally stub your toe and you're like, oh, fuck, that really hurt. But then you get angry or like something happens where you like cut your arm or you're doing something and you're just like, now I'm just fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to describe from that moment forward. It was just like pure rage got me through. Like I wouldn't be, it was like pure anger. And I went to the school counselor and I said, fuck this shit. This is exactly what happened. I'm done with this. And I think I have easily attributed my escape per se from that situation to like other people helping me, which I think is fair, like rightfully so. I had a lot of help, but I was the one who got myself out of that situation.
Yeah.
And I just I went into foster care and it was wild. It was crazy. Like,
which, by the way, I just want to say that it is very empowering that you did that for yourself.
She's very strong.
Because
she is very strong.
Takes, like, I just want to say that takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of bravery. And it's not something that people can do easily. So the fact that, like, even if it was anger that had to drive you, the fact that you were like, fuck this, I deserve better. In some way, you knew that deep down, right?
But
I don't know how
angry at the system because they kept putting her back.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
so I went...
Which makes me really
back a few times, actually. Because that's the goal, foster care, reunifying, which I definitely don't think that they handled that super well. But yeah, they sent me back a couple times, and each time they put me back in foster care because, I was either assaulted or, It was a lot.
And it speaks to your resilience, which probably came from your grandparents, which probably came from people like Carol being in your life, because a lot of children don't have that. And, you have found your family, and so...
And lucky for us.
Yeah.
Very lucky. She, the other thing that has terrified me since we got her. Since she adopted us.
How old was she when she actually came?
About 15.
Yeah, I was 15.
And we have a great story about that. But the other thing that terrifies Jim and me is what would have happened when you turned 18.
Oh,
I mean, because
I
look at this. Look at this sweet girl.
Yeah. I was a hardcore 15-year-old, and
she would have been on this.
Having worked with children in foster care, having to train volunteers, having to, give orientations to foster parents, having to work through those statistics, like right now. This might seem really dramatic. I should be either dead, pregnant, on drugs, homeless, in some sort of human trafficking sector of that industry.
Seem dramatic.
And that's the reality of the situation. Yeah.
But she got accepted to Belmont on her own efforts. She took whatever classes they told her to take, and she kept after them, and she got herself admitted to Belmont. And graduated.
Yeah.
And it was all her.
Yeah.
It was all, and I never had legal or financial custody. Her aunt still always had custody. So, I couldn't sign for her to get a driver's license. Or I couldn't sign her college papers. But she did this on her own. She is strong and she is resilient.
Did she
for our family
live with you at 15?
Yeah. So her aunt asked us. So my children were in parochial school. Okay. So ask me about any plaid skirt or plaid in town. I can identify it across the Green Hills Quarters parking lot.
Right.
But so we were asked. She was going to go to Hillsborough, and we were asked over Christmas break when she came. She joined high school in the middle of the year. She is so strong. So we were asked to take her to the mall because I wasn't working then, and help her get clothes. So we were asking these Williamson County girls what Davidson County's school uniforms were because we had no idea. We
Right.
knew the school, the Catholic schools. And so I still laugh about that. We were all like, oh my God, okay, you have to have khaki pants and a polo shirt. And then I think you went on the first day of school and nobody wore a uniform or something.
Your face.
So she hung out with us. Her aunt did an annual.
She was always like away on vacations or work.
Travel.
And she also, I was thinking about this earlier today, just like thinking about the podcast and just kind of looking back at our relationship.
Yeah.
And she is such a product of her environment. Mm-hmm. And it was like stepping from one situation to the exact same situation with different people. You know, and we are not close now. She just, you know, she was of the generation where, you know, either you go one way and you recognize it and you fix it, or you just keep going the other way. You know, it was like that in between where it was like our grandparents who were like, nothing's wrong, everything's fine. We're all super abusive, but nobody knows because nobody's like our curtains are closed, right? And then there's like our parents' generation that was like half of them were like, ooh, this is fucked up. Let me go get help. Let me go talk to a doctor. Let me, you know, commiserate with other people, right?
Right.
With the other side of that was like, woe is me, but also I'm not going to change.
Yeah.
Right? Like, woe is me, that was so fucked up, but I'm going to repeat those patterns anyways because I'm so different. It's kind of like, I don't know, I think about this a lot. This book that I read in high school, it's called Things Fall Apart. Did you ever read it?
No, but I'm going to put that on my list.
It's really good. It's about this tribe in, I believe it's Africa. Gosh, I haven't read this in like 15 years. Like, it's been so long. Yeah. And it's about this son, and his father is the tribe leader, and he does not look up to him. He does not like the way he does things, right? Mm-hmm. And so he swears to be different. Mm-hmm. And throughout his story, he does not face all of the things that make him similar to his father. So he is naive to the fact that he is turning out to be just like his father.
Mm. Interesting.
So it's like there's that piece of some of the folks that are y'all's generation that are like, I don't want to be them so badly that I'm going to ignore all of the things that make me related to them. You know, like that all the things we have in common. So I'm not even fixing the patterns that I've learned from them.
Oh, that's fascinating.
So I think that was something she really has struggled with and still struggles to recognize because she has a relationship with my brother. So I have one biological brother, little brother, and he has come to me recently with similar situations, said, next time just call me first and then say, you know, and tell me, you know, should I bring this up to her? And I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. But, you know, it just reminds me of that book a lot, you know, was the ignorance to the connection you have with the person who abused you, especially when it's your relative, because there is a lot of connection. And I see that a lot. Like, I look very similar to my biological dad's side of the family, and I've gone through periods of my life where I've hated it. I've been like, I hate the way that I look. I can't believe I look like them. Like, and then having the problem of looking back and being like, man, I miss that fun thing we did that one time.
Oh, I get it.
And like,
that's abusive relationships. Like, not to say like just but in general, that's abusive relationships no matter what, right? You're like, oh, I hate this person for doing this to me. But we had such a great time that time. So it's like, wow, but there were good times. It's like,
that's the hope. The hope of hoping.
Right.
The hope that goes with wanting someone to make those changes because they love and value you enough to make those changes. And yet they're so damaged that they can't.
Right.
Let's talk about that with romantic relationships.
Let's not.
I was about to say.
So Carol, when exactly,
like, what was the day
did Emelie come into your lives? Like, when did she actually start living with you?
So that Christmas, and we did our shopping. I remember being at Cool Springs, and then kind of just after that, I mean, your aunt would ask us if you could stay with us while she was traveling. And then we had and we had not been friends in many years until Emelie came. And then we made the effort to be friends again. Our lives just had gone very different paths, and that was fine. So we had a kerfuffle because Emelie wanted to be at our house. And I was told that I needed to tell her we did not want her at our house. Oh, and remember we were sitting upstairs.
That's just one, like, that's who they are. It was,
and I said, I have promised this child that I will never lie to her. Ooh. So I will tell her you want her to come home. The other thing is, her aunt was trying to do exactly what the social worker had said. And honestly, I was on my third teenager at that point. So I was kind of like, we'll get through this, please. Yeah. But third teenage girl. But you parent the child. Mm-hmm. My two birth children are so different.
Yeah.
Could they be more different?
They're so different.
And so now I have three. So I have one whose shoulder I cry on. I have one who will do a spreadsheet for whatever I need to do or don't do. And then I have Sunshine here, who always cheers me up and is so thoughtful. But
even when I call and I'm like, Mom, help!
No worries, moms like to be useful. But but no, I just said I'm not going to lie to her. She is always welcome here. And I mean, as the girls say, she kind of just moved in. I don't think we were hospitable. Our house is very small, so sometimes she would be on a mattress on the floor in one of the girls' bedrooms. Sometimes you were in the living room.
But it was fine. Like, it was what I had wanted. It was just the safe, packed home filled with, like, a lot of love. And
we are safe.
And
we are not always smart, but we're safe. She also... and then I had to run interference. That trip we took to Florida, first of all, I took your phone away because they kept getting different phones. They would call her on and scream. Remember at Captain Anderson's, which Jim has to go to.
Was this like the aunt or the parents?
The parents.
Biological parents.
Calling, and they would get different phone numbers. So finally, I took your phone away. And
I'm going to be honest with you. I forgot this. I think half the things Mom remembers, and my mom is very protective.
Yeah.
And half this, she remembers everything. Half the stuff, I feel like my brain was just like, whatever, because it was so common for me. So like 50% of all that shit, it just kind of was like,
it's a coping mechanism too. I feel like we shut down a lot of things that we don't want to.
No, I was out, or like I think I was out in the lobby of the restaurant a lot, intervening on the phone. And then there were some phone calls once we were home to the house, and I just played along, I mean, I heard from your dad how wonderful we were to pay attention to you and take you in and all, and we were all like, because I already knew everything from you, like they had represented you as a problem child to their church, so that it didn't look bad that she left town.
At the final court hearing, when they were about to lose custody, they brought in like 5 or 6 people that went to their church. And after 2 or 3 of them, the judge dead ass looked at them and was like, when was the last time, like after he had asked the multiple people, when was the last time you've seen her, talked to her, interacted with her? And they were like, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. And he was like, you're dismissed. You don't know this child.
Good judge.
Yeah, the judge
those judges.
Awesome. That man, that man really came through. The judge was not fucking around with that. I think he really saw through that because the amount of people they were bringing in to testify that I was a problem and they were great parents. He was like, when have you interacted with this child? Yeah. And they're like, oh, I kind of know that because they were in choir, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, and the judge was like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like,
I love that. Good judge.
So it just, all worked out. But, what you're saying is like, you're remembering things that I don't
I probably didn't tell you.
Yeah.
So we were just, me and my just make this all okay, because I was like, oh no, we're so lucky, we're so glad to know her, you're welcome, but we're just, because I had worked with him years and years ago before they got married and all. So anyway,
You knew them separately before
Yeah.
they had even met each other.
Yeah, you guys mentioned that
wow.
before.
Yeah.
That it
begged
was,
her not to marry him.
yeah.
But anyway, Emily's my sunshine. And
So she was 15 when she came.
I
home.
think so.
Yeah, I was 15.
That's-
I had just
that's really
turned
rare.
But you know, as an
15,
adult,
and it was Christmas, and then
Yeah.
the next year I would have been 16.
oh, because I think we were scrambling because we didn't know.
get
So
the
we didn't have presents. We had to get presents. Hurry.
Okay, not gonna lie, Christmas kind of balls out. My mom finds so much cool stuff.
And stockings.
And now, like, we'll have a list, and sometimes our list will be bigger than others, but on years that they've been small, you know, it's been like, here are the 3 things you wanted, but here are like 10 other things that, like, here's a lotion and here's this.
Yeah.
And,
I
and-
already have such great
and
stuff
we
for
always get Trader Joe's gift cards, which is like a sleigh.
Oh my god, that's the best.
I have some for you. I have some for you. You
I
will
love
never
Trader Joe's.
guess.
So you would
It's
want a
so
Trader
great. I love
Joe's
this.
gift
I mean,
card?
I don't necessarily want a Trader Joe's gift card, but I'm just saying Trader Joe's does. I don't go there because of the parking lot, but that's my own issue.
Every
White
Trader
Bridge.
Joe's.
It's far.
The greenhouse.
Well, they
other
live
thing-
over by the White Bridge one, and
yeah.
I live right down the
Yeah,
street.
But
so-
even the White Bridge one, now that they have the Halloween shop.
Oh, I park in the back near the dumpster.
Oh, I never thought
There's
about
a
that.
cut through.
That's good to know. That's
Well,
good to know.
Emily has also, as an adult, given me the gift of helping me see a lot of my family's trauma.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And she is the only one, I think, that connects with. I hope my other children cannot connect with parent trauma, but she has helped me see the family that I grew up in, which was beyond bad.
I think it can be hard for. I think
I always had to
Kate
pretend.
and Sarah probably see it and absolutely validate it, but I think it can be really hard when a child has not had the experience that you have had. You know, like
I hope they haven't.
They grow up in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment, and so they can hear your story and be sympathetic to it, but there isn't that empathy piece. You know, it's like sympathy versus empathy. It's like, I have a lot of empathy for you, and I feel like I can connect with you in a deeper way because I too have experienced trauma. Even, you know, some of ours have overlapped for sure.
Yeah.
But it's like, I know that when I came into the family, you saw me. And you weren't just like, oh my gosh, this kid, like, she's gone through so much, and but I don't understand. But because when it's sympathy, there's a
always
lot less
understood.
patience.
No.
With sympathy, folks don't have patience, right? They're like, oh, that sucks, I'm so sorry, and then they kind of just move on to the next,
That's
right?
a good point.
With empathy, when it's like, I've walked in your shoes, let me hold the door for you. I know what kind of feeling you're feeling to an extent because I've felt similarly. You have a lot more patience for people.
And it's a gift to be able to do for that person what no one did for you as a child.
Wow.
We should have been taken out of the home. We weren't, because they didn't do that back then.
Right.
And the other thing was, wow, that fell in my head. What a shocker. The empathy, sympathy. Anyway,
It'll come back. We both have ADHD, so it's
see,
like,
she's helped me see that a lot too, which
Yeah.
I found the podcast on my table. But no one's ever said that, and that's why, like,
Sorry,
we
guys.
even get
sorry,
to question
sorry, guys.
two?
We had to. The neighbors fucked us up. We had. Yeah, they did.
Oh, you mean the neighbors with
Yes.
their dog?
Yes, sorry. Yes, the neighbors with their dog. Let me be more specific.
Yes.
So we're coming back into the podcast. Had to take a quick break, but we're coming back in. I honestly don't remember where we were, but I know you guys had ADHD.
I'm not sure where
something about ADHD. I mean, I feel like that's
I'll just start by asking another question.
There you go. There you go.
So, what were your feelings that came about when you were welcomed into a home?
Oh yeah.
And when you became a real daughter to Carol?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Sure,
when did you
yeah.
feel that?
What?
I hope you felt welcomed.
So here's the
When
thing.
did you feel that?
So, and I feel like a lot of people's expectation of the answer for that would be, oh, right away, like I felt so safe and amazing, and it was just the joy of my life. And to be honest with you, I don't think so. It felt dangerous. Because it felt like it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Like it felt like all of a sudden, with the snap of a finger, mom and dad were going to turn around and be angry with you, kick you out, threaten you, hurt you.
That's
like,
what you knew.
Yeah.
You knew that it wasn't
and
safe.
That's abusive.
And
that's
it's
abusive relationship.
and something I have talked a lot with my friends about is we talk about the shock that comes after a traumatic situation, right? We talk about that shock, but we don't talk about the shock that happens once you're safe. And it's a completely different type of shock.
It is.
It's I'm in a safe environment. This person is giving me a towel that I don't have to share with someone. This person is making sure that I'm fed. I'm not having to cringe and have the anticipation of getting hit. Right. Like, I can say something, I can be a smart ass, I can say some sort, and we're all smart asses in our family. We're so funny and hilarious, right?
It works.
But that would not have been safe. Right? Me saying some smart ass sarcastic comment right now, everyone in our family would laugh because they'd be like, that's hilarious. But in my previous, home, that would be a threat to someone's ego. It would be a threat to someone's image or appearance or, And so there's this shock factor that comes in. Like, it was shocking to me that I got my own towel and my own washcloth. Like, that was weird to me, right? Like, and the fact that there was food in the fridge and food in the pantry, and anytime I wanted something to eat, there was no worry that I wasn't going to eat tomorrow. There wasn't a worry that I was going to get body shamed. If it was 11:30 at night and I was like, Mom and Dad, I'm hungry, they'd be like, food in the pantry, food in the fridge, whatever you want. And beyond that, it was, my mom was like, well, we have this chicken and we have turkey and I can make you a turkey sandwich, or we have rice cakes and I can put peanut butter on them. Like, do you want some water? There was never a day when I didn't walk in the house and Dad wasn't immediately like,
oh my God.
That's a joke in our house, is if you walk in the house, my dad's going to be like, do you want a Coke? Do you want a tea? Do you want water? Do you want ginger ale? We've got some beer. What do you want? And it's funny, my boyfriend and my new roommate, we dropped by a couple weeks ago, and my dad is just listing it off, and I'm looking both of them dead in the face, and I was like, just take something. Anything. Just take something. And they're like, what? And I'm like, he won't stop. He won't stop and that's another thing. My dad is super hospitable, but when I was adopted and brought into the family, I haven't talked with you and Dad directly about this, but I don't think I trusted you until I was maybe like ending college. I didn't fully feel the trust, not because of you guys.
I understand that.
But totally because after that level of
so much of your life.
After that level of abuse, and it went beyond when I was 15. You know what I mean? Like, I was still in touch with my biological parents till maybe midway through college.
Well, and your grandparents, because they were paying for college. And it was an odd roundabout because we were not in touch with them. It was all through Emelie, which I realize is a burden for a teenager, but she just came across as so strong and self-assured. We not having any legal or financial
obligations or
I guess. I mean, we had commitments to you, but it was kind of like this other person that lived in the house,
taken care of, which came with its own strings.
That also meant we couldn't choose the therapist and go to family therapy and things like that. But she just was always so independent and I don't know, like, wow, she's so confident. But you also growing up didn't have utilities a lot of times. And you weren't safe in not only your parents, but it wasn't a safe environment. I mean, no kid should be playing with, what was it, a saw or an axe?
So, yeah,
I mean, those are things that, my kids growing up when they were little weren't allowed in the front yard because I was terrified.
Well, I mean,
strangers.
Who would not snatch these gorgeous children.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were in charge of Duncan, and
Yeah, my brother, Andrew Duncan,
which was a real struggle for her to have left him, even though she had no choice.
Yeah. And my brother and I have worked through a lot
struggled.
of that guilt, because I still have really bad nightmares where I'll find him dead and I can't do
But it's
anything,
also,
or
like,
like
it's not your
guilt belongs to your
responsibility
parents.
to raise a sibling either.
Yeah.
Like that's
and
on
as
the
an
parents.
adult, that's so much easier to comprehend as a
Well, as a
as a
child,
12-year-old
it was
child
very
being put
bad.
in foster
Yeah.
care. It's like I've now abandoned my brother.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
going to be the subject of all the abuse now. Like, he can't come with me. They won't let me bring him with me. Like, he also has Asperger's, so being on the spectrum was already hard for him.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
only for two parents who were horrendous, you know, that on top of them not understanding a child with special needs and not even acknowledging or like accepting that he has special needs.
Right.
So over the years, you know, Andrew Duncan and I have worked through a lot of, because I'll wake up sometimes in the middle of the night and be like, I had a nightmare that you died. I had a nightmare that you're hurt. Are you okay? And he works late nights because he's a nurse now, and he'll text me back and be like, everything's fine. Like, we're all good. Go back to sleep. Like, you're okay. But you know, like, getting separated from that was hard for sure. But you know, I guess here we are.
You know, the worst thing about it took me a couple of years, not to sound needy, but it took me a couple of years after they all moved out to be okay and to go, well, I don't have to do laundry. I certainly don't fix dinner. And I'm lying on the couch. But I miss the laughter and the noise and the commotion. And you're all's friends. We were more central to all their schools and their soccer teams and stuff. So there'd be all these girls in the house. And I remember one day I came home and one of your all's friends was crying on Jim's shoulder. And I was like, wait, that's not even 1 hour. And he had deer in the headlights, you know.
Yeah.
But that's been really hard.
Well, I think
We do lots.
that. Sorry.
No. I was just gonna say, it seems like from like what I'm hearing, it seems like your family, like your family, like
We're a family.
Yeah,
of
but
five.
it doesn't seem like
and
there was a
Daniel and
lot
Jack.
of like, because I was wondering, I'm like, well, is there sibling rivalry there? Like, was there ever any like between like
Yes.
well and like well,
Exactly.
between two, like something I've always wondered, like, is it different with biological kids versus kids that are adopted coming into a family of kids that
Yes.
are biological? What
100%.
was that
It
like?
was very hard at first.
Yeah.
It was hard. And
What were some of the challenges?
Like, how'd you navigate that?
she called us mom and dad. And they were, I think, a little unsettled.
Kate
about
and
that.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Kate
Kate
especially.
more so. Yeah. Because
Which
she's
she's come to terms with. We've had lots of great conversations
Yeah.
about, and for a long time I thought Kate hated me. And then in college one day I sat down with her and I was crying and I was like, what is your problem with me? It did not come out super well, but I was like, why do you hate me? And she was like, I don't hate you. What? And so we have had conversations about it, and I'm not trying to like call her out or anything. I
No.
really hope she doesn't
You
think.
can scrub the names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Kate's
but,
not her real name. No.
I'm totally not.
No.
no,
we
but
just won't give her the link to the podcast. True.
She has told me she's so grateful for you, that you have added so much to our family. So much positivity.
She, I think, really struggled with, because our older sister had so many things that needed immediate attention because it was like a 911 kind of situation.
Yeah.
Kate has also always represented herself as very independent. Mm-hmm. Mom and dad were able to kind of let her be, not as a parentified child. I wouldn't say that. But I would say she's always been very resourceful, smart, cautious. Mm-hmm. She was not a kid that had 911 emergencies, right? Mm-hmm. And so Sarah had a lot of those.
But she did, even as a very little kid. I remember one time Sarah went into anaphylaxis, and Kate, as a really little kid, I mean, Jim and I are like, what should we do? What should we do? And Kate's like, call 911. And so the ambulance is there. Kate, as a little kid, has put the house rabbit in a back bedroom so he doesn't get out. Because also it was night and he was black.
Right.
So he never would have found it. But she's put the rabbit in a safe place. She's packed a bag for me with a sweater because hospitals are cold. I mean, she had done all these things as a little kid. And then she toddled off. I mean, she was elementary school, but she had gone off with the neighbors to spend the night.
Wow.
I mean, she's
always been that way.
That's
She's
smart.
and I love that about her, but I hate that for her too, because I look back and through my years, because she was such a safe space and because we were close in age, I relied on her so much.
When we talked about that and
Yeah.
how
Yeah. And I relied on her so much. And I remember in college, she went through a really, really tumultuous time where her anxiety and mental health stuff came to a head. And she was going through it and acting as a college student who's going through something would.
Yeah.
But at the time I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you acting this way? Why are you being mean to me? Why are we fighting? And I think that was the peak moment where everything hit her, right? Of all of this maturity that she had and capability and the stability that she, I guess, felt she needed to have as the child who didn't have the 911 emergencies. And I look back and I hate that I was not aware enough to recognize that she was not my caretaker.
But it's also
If that
not
makes
on
sense.
you. And, like, I feel like what you went through so much is, like, you're not going to see that, right?
Yeah.
Because...
Well, yeah, I was a kid. I was
You're
right.
you're
right.
still...
and even in college, because of everything that happened to you, you were still
Where was
emotionally young.
You were still there, but you weren't at the college parties, Mom.
Yeah, I
They
feel
were
like
at the college
you were-
parties.
and we lived together, and it
Yeah.
was like
parties and
siblings,
college.
I feel like... No, there were no... College
no.
was super boring. I don't
Truly,
remember...
I lived at home.
I don't remember a
And
single
worked
thing.
jobs
I
to
don't
pay
even think
for
there
it.
were
Yeah.
boys there.
No.
Like all I remember
my
is textbooks.
classes.
I
That's it.
had text. I slept on textbooks. Like
Yeah.
what?
Same. So much
Okay,
studying.
well, that's my
So-
college experience. I lived at home.
So much studying and no fun at all. What do we
Yep.
do? Ah.
So for
Okay.
the sibling rivalry that did happen, like how long did it last? When did you kind of like come to that realization that you guys, because you sound like you're all close now, or fairly...
Yeah, we're
Good
all
now.
really close.
Yeah.
And we all were really close too. It was just a little
small
bit
house.
It was a little bit foggier then. So
Yeah.
I would say sibling rivalry I did not recognize until maybe a couple months into being with my family. As Kate was always really territorial that they were her mom and dad and her, and
Yeah.
it was like, it was as a child would be very protective of
Yeah.
her family unit. And at that point, Sarah had gone off to college, right? And she
Okay.
didn't need that much attention,
Right,
right?
right,
She
yeah.
was away. Kate was getting a lot of attention from mom and dad. And then here I come, just a huge cannonball of a traumatic child. Like, I'm just like on display for everyone to see. And I'm just over here like, hope I don't die, like whatever. And Kate's like, okay, not only is this new person who obviously has 911 issues here, I have to adjust to them. And now she's taking up my parents' time that was originally like, I was waiting for this time for me.
Yeah.
And so I think Kate never had an issue with me. She had a fear that she was not going to be not tended to, because children aren't tended
Right,
to,
but like
kind of
the priority.
yeah.
yeah.
It's
The
really
priority.
big of you to notice that and
It
to like
really
even
is.
understand that.
But
because-
I didn't. That's the thing. I didn't when it was happening. And
Right.
then as soon as Kate and I really started having conversations about that, and she said, it was only because I was afraid that mom and dad would turn their attention to you
Yeah.
And I would get lost in the mix.
But the fact that you were even able to have that conversation, no matter how old you were, the fact that you were even able to have that conversation, because a lot of families don't, right? And then people grow apart, or people don't talk, or you have siblings that don't talk. Like, the fact that you guys were able to have that conversation and be where you are now, that's huge.
And it speaks a lot to you, Carol, because you created that opportunity by offering that safe space and being that resource for them, and them knowing that they could have those conversations and really get into the challenges that they were facing. If you hadn't been there and been that resource for them, they wouldn't have been able to do that.
I definitely think mom and dad have always been honest.
Yeah.
And when we have come to the table saying, like, I know this was not what you were trying to do, but this is how it came across. Or I know this was not the intention, or even just saying, I know your attention was elsewhere, but this is what it made me feel like. This is the fear that came up. And mom and dad immediately being like, that wasn't what we meant to do. This is why we were doing that. You know, like, there was never an ego involved. You and dad have never had an ego. And I think that's what was different coming into this situation, and Kate and I kind of butting heads a little bit, is I was always ready to be on the defense because I was waiting for the ego to come in, right? And then, but how you raised everybody here is, it's not about ego. Like, our family is built on relationships, and there has never been a time where your priority has been to protect your ego. It's always, you and dad have always been very, even to the point where you've been really hard on yourselves, right?
Yeah, I feel like I have to insert that we are the most clueless parents that ever lived. I feel like these girls
you have
your
had
whole
to raise
your
us.
whole generation thinks that, because my mom will apologize to me sometimes, and she'll be like, I was doing what I knew how to do at the time.
I can think back on like 20 years ago how just bad things I've done, and these girls, I mean, they're just my best friends.
Yeah.
They are
But I think
amazing.
that's another thing, is I think you rag on yourself a little bit. Like, you weren't the most clueless because you raised 3 extraordinary women, right? Like, and if you had truly been clueless, if you had truly been as clueless as I think you are,
But you're not?
then that's the thing. You think you are,
I am.
but if you're not, that you're. It just, we would not have been able to have, like, you know, when we did go to the beach a couple years ago, you and I walking on the beach and having not really tough conversations, but really being like, yeah, Kate went through this, and I went through this, and you're going through this, and Sarah's going through that. It's like, and it doesn't turn into this is a hard conversation and it's so negative and we're fighting now. It's just, we're talking about really hard topics, but it's a loving space to talk about hard topics.
Dad and I don't like to do fighting.
Yeah.
We grew up with that.
Yeah.
This is a sunshine, which my girls gave me.
Aww.
It's a cute necklace, and I can't believe you haven't. I had one of those, and I broke it or lost it or gave it to some. I don't know.
The original chains were weak.
Yeah.
But no, my girls, I love wearing this because they gave it to me, and I was like, "Is it because you want me to cheer up? It's a sun." And they said, "No, it's because you're the sunshine in our family." So,
That's so sweet.
But no, we have never felt like we had a clue what we were doing. But
I mean, it's not like the world ever prepared you well. Like, everyone was like, "Have a baby, take it home. Hope you know how to use it." Like,
they did check. They did check us with the second one to be sure we had a car seat, and then they looked at us and said, "You guys are in your 40s, right? We think you've got this." And we were like, "Yeah, and we've got the 4-year-old in the back seat to hold the baby's head up, so we can do this."
See, I think it comes down to both of you, right? Because, like, obviously you had the resilience to have the power enough to say, this, I deserve better, right? In some way, shape, or form. And then you had the ability to provide that safe space and the safe home. Coming together, it's kind of the perfect blend of ingredients, even if it's not the perfect time or the perfect place or the perfect situation. You guys really worked with each other. I think there's a beautiful balance there because that's why you are who you are because of you, and you are who you are because of her.
Yeah.
And so many things, and that's what's beautiful and so empowering to see.
We only feel blessed.
Yeah.
We are so blessed.
Yeah.
We have a
And if
really
they come
cool
over,
family.
if they come over even for 30 minutes or an
No,
hour,
they'll
like
come
when they
over.
drop by, it's like, oh,
You
this
can
is the
come
best
over
thing ever.
literally anytime.
Cool.
My dad will walk out to the car.
It's okay.
Larkin, how are you?
I want a ginger
I'm so
ale.
excited. I've heard so much
Yeah,
about
you
you.
will have to just take a drink, okay?
I was like, I already know what
We
I want.
have,
I already know
we
what I
have
want.
Diet Coke, caffeine-free Coke, ginger ale. We've got, I can put a pot on, make some
Remember,
tea. I can give you
when
some
he
water.
listens to this podcast,
He's gonna be
Hi, Dad. I love you so much. You're the best.
my dad, I want a water.
I want a ginger ale.
You remember the first time you came back? I think the girls all moved out at once that summer, which was hard. And so you were back at the house, and you were, because they didn't move far. I mean,
Right.
they were just like
I
5
moved
minutes
to
away.
Auburn for my first year
Okay.
of college, which
I
was
spent-
horrendous. Let
Yeah.
me just tell you.
I
I should have a
spent-
whole podcast about how
Bad
state
that
schools suck. But
Well,
you know,
I
it is what
spent
it
a
is.
lot of time on the phone with the nurse at Auburn, saying you've got you've got to help my daughter. I've got her on the way to the clinic right now by phone.
Yeah.
Anyway, but you came
Another
to the
memory
house.
I have repressed.
Well, good. You couldn't find your flip flops; they were under the bed or something. So you were standing in front of the refrigerator with something in your hand, and you opened the fridge door, and you were like, and you called Kate, and you said, "I'm worried about Mom and Dad. They don't have food. Do you think they can afford food? Are they okay?" Yes, and we were like, we just don't have leftovers because I don't have to fix 5 meals for
Right, that's
lactose
true.
intolerant, vegetarian, pasta, meat. I don't have to do that anymore.
I can't believe
and
you
she
did
was
do
so
that.
worried about
That's
us.
another thing.
I'm
That's
impressed
encour-
because
I'm-
I can speak to the fact that I did not, never will probably cook.
I have those fun little kids meals that like had like the 4 little. It's like you have your corn here, and then you have your
Bento
mashed-
box kids meals.
Yeah.
Were they in the blue tins?
No,
were they in the
mine-
blue? Oh,
what
I
were they
love
called?
those.
They were like kids. It
They're
wasn't
called
kids,
kids meals.
They were literally kids meals, and then like I always used to be like, don't get the one with the pudding. Pudding's gross. Get the one with the brownie, because I didn't care about the rest of the food. I just wanted to serve.
But you couldn't eat the brownie till she ate the rest of the food. But
Yeah.
I did not cook.
Oh.
So I'm always so impressed with,
But I had
with
my
parents who
grandmother.
cook.
I have recipes that could work for the special diet and the rest of the family.
Yeah.
It just depended on when you separated out,
Yeah.
what you separated out. But
Yeah.
I know that I hope they didn't realize when they were home, but we've talked about it since they've become adults and looking at their own family finances. Like, why is this so hard to be an adult? And I'm like, do you remember we didn't eat meat? All those years I was paying tuition when I had 4 part-time jobs.
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember we had a lot of pasta
Yeah.
and we had, recipes
Pasta's
that we
delicious.
I mean, it's so shocking to me once they all got out and once we got all the loans paid off and everything to buy meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we never regretted it. And that was the other thing
Well,
about
and
marrying really late.
Yeah.
Because we married in our mid-30s was we had kind of done a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah.
And I never felt cheated. I never
Aw.
felt like, oh, if it wasn't for these kids, I could be night clubbing or I could be traveling or
Yeah.
whatever. It was never, you all were
Yeah.
such a gift. Which made my kids crazy. They were like, stop saying I'm a treasure.
Well, I was
It's
just
so
trying to
much
give my
pressure.
mom grace and be like, it's okay if you hate us today. It's okay. We made you
Never.
cry. You don't have to like us today.
that. Well, I mean,
What
it was
if-
awful when you left. I don't have any laundry to do. I don't have
What
Oh,
do
so
we always
hard.
say?
What
You
a life.
always love me. There's just days, or we always love each other.
They're
There's
just days
we
we
don't
like each other.
Yeah. But
Sometimes
love is
we
always
don't
there.
get along.
Yeah.
No, I think my siblings and I have different perspectives on this because for you, I think you're like, I hope they didn't notice that we were, spending money in different ways or,
We were struggling.
and for me, I didn't even notice that at
Right.
all, right?
Well-
Because of where I was coming from, it was like I was like living the life of a king.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I was coming home to a house that had soda.
Right.
And
Everything
where
was a blessing.
I could watch
Yeah.
TV.
Right.
And like where I could go to the fridge and there was like cold water in a pitcher for me. I was like, oh my God, where am I? Like,
Right, yeah.
and
Filtered water.
yeah, like the Brita filtered. I was like, I remember being like, what the fuck is this? Why is like it only halfway full? What is this white thing in this Brita filter, right? And like coming home and there being food readily available and a parent that's going to notice your dietary restrictions. Like that just felt so different to me, which I think goes back to the, the question you asked of like, when did you feel comfortable or when did you trust that? And it's like going from one end of the spectrum to the opposite. You go in there and you're like, this seems questionable. Am I dreaming? Like,
When's the next shoe gonna drop?
The shoe.
Yeah,
and that's been a really big theme in my
get
whole
that.
life that you and I have both talked about a lot. And you've had to say, stop waiting for the next shoe. Just
The lack of
Yeah.
trauma feels unnatural and boring. The lack of drama feels wrong in our lives.
Right.
And it's something I've had to really work through. Like, yes, nothing terrible happened this week, and that's how most people live. Or that's
Right.
okay, because...
Yeah.
And we've had to... Emily and I have both had to work on that, because... in my head, I'm going, oh my God, I have the most boring life ever, and what is wrong with me? And I should accomplish something, and that's not reality.
Oh, you have a beautiful life.
Yeah.
I am blessed.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, with that boredom, it's like the safety, right? Like that.
Safety is boring.
Yeah, safety is boring.
And it
that's-
can be anxiety producing.
Also, I'm
Yeah.
Sagittarius.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let me get the stars.
I'm going to be honest with you. I literally have no idea what a Sagittarius is like. I didn't even know that
We
about
are
you.
flighty, capricious.
Well, that's so funny
bored,
because
easily
Adam's a
bored.
Sag, and he's not flighty at all.
Well, he's
My Adam is a Leo, and he is not. He does not give Leo vibes.
No.
at all.
That's
He does not give Leo
Jim's-
vibes.
Your
You got
dad,
it. So the whole
granddad
thing,
was a Leo.
the whole thing,
Really?
you,
Yeah,
like
no,
I'm a
Adam's not like
Capricorn.
Oh
but
wait,
I have-
you have to go on your your rising.
Right,
You can't
to go on your
sun.
rising.
I don't think she knows.
Okay,
Right.
don't worry about it.
So
We'll get
I'm a
it-
Capricorn,
we'll
but I
get
have
into
a
it later.
Pisces rising. So my Pisces rising often overcomes
Yes.
my Capricorn.
Yes.
We
like,
both have a Pisces rising. I'm a triple water
see,
sign.
I'm a Libra rising, but that's a different podcast. So let's start on that.
Anyways,
And
circling back to
and we do
childhood
need
trauma.
to kind of start wrapping it up a little
do.
bit for time.
But I will say that you guys are incredible. One,
Thank you.
Bless.
Emily, for you to
Incredibly
tell your
blessed.
story is really like I know people are like, oh, that's brave, but like no, it's really fucking brave.
Yeah,
for you
it is.
to talk about it and for you to do the work that you do now. Because if you guys don't know, she works with my mom and she works with a lot of trauma informed care. She works with you can explain it better than I can.
well,
but the
she
fact
works
that, like,
with families
you
who
give
are
back.
often struggling.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
give
they have
back.
histories of trauma.
and
She gives
you know,
back from the heart because
right.
she knows it.
Yeah, but like you're such. Had I not sat down with you, I honestly never would have known because you remind me of like Sabrina Carpenter. Like you're always sunshiny and happy and smiley, and you.
I'll take that compliment.
You're just
I don't know who that is.
and you
Tell me
radiate
later.
this like. You radiate this positivity and sweetness. My dog doesn't like everybody, and my dog gravitated to you instantaneously. I was slightly jealous. So like you
Where
just
is she?
you just have that innate sense about you, and that's a lot down to you and your resilience. So thank you, one, for sharing your story,
She's
and
done a lot of hard
thank
work.
you for bringing her into your life and giving her that safety and giving her that
She's
love.
my gift.
Yeah.
She is my gift.
I
to her.
don't think I would have trusted my parents as much if they had not also shared their own story, because both my parents have experienced severe trauma in their lives in different capacities and some similar to mine. But I even in my own life, I think I have a hard time relating to folks who have not gone through and know the
Some sort of trauma.
the horrible things that can happen in life. Which,
Yeah.
like, there's not really a beautiful way to say that.
I
but
understand that.
Yeah,
I fully. We've talked about that. I understand that. I think about people who, and I won't talk about the certain person, but there's someone I know who's literally told me, she's like, yeah, I grew up really like fine, and I never had anything happen in my life. And I'm like, God, what must that? Do you like sleep? What's your sleep like? Can you sleep? Because I don't know what that's like. Like, how do you? And there's a reason why we're not super tight. It's because it's like there's nothing really relatable.
Yeah.
And so
and it's also,
unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that it's like that's what we have to.
And that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode. But
so
thank you
we're
guys so much.
grateful for you coming in and being willing to share your
This
stories.
was so fun. Yeah,
No, let's do it again tomorrow.
Okay.
Let's talk about being the middle child.
We're gonna do a recap with Emelie and Carol.
Honestly, I mean, who knows? Maybe we could have you guys back, or have.
I think we could
I would
continue
love
the
to-
conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
We
much
should
more.
have Kate and Sarah.
Let's do it.
We can totally do it. Yeah.
Kate, I feel like Kate would do it. I don't know. Sarah's in DC, so it might be hard. But
FaceTime.
I feel like Kate would really, because
Yeah.
I think she has a lot to add to this conversation too. Because
that'd be great.
Yeah.
because she has a totally different perspective of everything that happened with us, and being the like kind of, I wouldn't say like the solid person, but she's always been the rational, like
Right. You
Logical.
mentioned that,
logical
Right.
person. I would be really, really interested.
I'd love to hear what
talk,
she has
to
to
talk
say.
with her and hear what
I
she
feel
has
like
to
she
say.
We'll
got
have
a
to-
little shunted away because she was so just self-sufficient and smart.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have to have you guys back on with Kate. Kate, if you're listening, just know we're coming at you.
We're coming for you, Kate. Woo!
But we have wine.
That's right. We
Yes.
always have wine.
She loves a good wine. She's a Pinot Gris kind of girl.
Well, then
so.
we can have a Pinot
We will
Gris.
have Pinot Gris when Kate comes.
Totally.
Yeah.
We can actually have some Pinot Gris for her and for us, and have some sparkling
For you guys.
Carol.
Yeah. We'll give everyone.
We can do combos.
We'll talk about a few wines.
Yeah,
that day.
exactly.
It'll be fine.
We're fine.
The wines with the mice, the mouse,
The mouse, the moose, the mouse.
moose
And
mouse.
actually, if you pour Sprite and a tiny bit of wine, you can tell me it's sparkling. I'll believe you. I mean, when I grew up, the way I grew up, I dreamed of buying a Stouffer's.
Oh.
I dreamed of buying Dannon yogurt. And so, to me, everything in my life now is so incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so incredible.
Yeah.
And it's hard sometimes. I think we cover that a lot. It's like that shock factor. You're like, this is suspicious. This is
too. Why is this so?
this is so
why is this
nice.
so good?
What is happening?
Right.
Well, and we look forward to being able to gift you that opportunity to have, it won't be Dannon's or Stouffer's, but it'll be some brand of wine
Yeah.
you will enjoy.
Yes. But thank y'all so much for coming on, telling your story, and just bringing your bond and sharing that with everyone. It's so important, and we love you guys.
And we
too.
love that you guys really do resonate around blood being not necessarily thicker than water.
The
Yeah.
family you find.
Exactly.
Or the family God sends you.
Yep.
The family you make.
Create, yeah.
Yes.
Family you create.
Well, I'm blessed.
Me too.
And so are we, because we have you guys on, and it's so
Thank
nice
you.
to have you here. So, to all of our listeners, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe, and to also like our. We want you to like our podcast, but
But the more you like it, the better it is. And if you share it,
please share it.
the more people will.
And if you have any
Listen.
stories that you want to send in, or any topics, you can always send them to larkandmomster@gmail.com.
LARKAND
MOMSTER @gmail.com. I can't spell with my eyes open.
No, she can. She really can.
Wow.
So please let us know, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. We certainly did. And remember, for next time, don't ever dim your shine, and always keep it real.
Amen.
Over and out.
Adios.
Bye.
I love that. That was